if I could just pick up on Gates from what I said just before the break. Um, they get phenomenally rich by being frontmen for this whole thing, but there's always a rider, and that is that you have to take vast amounts of the wealth that you accrue by being one of their frontmen, and you have to spend it on advancing the agenda under the guise behind the smokescreen of philanthropy. This is how it works. This is the Rockefeller Foundation and it's the Gates Foundation. So, my last book came out this year, The Answer, which was 80% written before the lockdowns kicked in and all this stuff started, had so many mentions of Bill Gates in the first 8% of the book for all the areas of the Great Reset, we now call it, that he was funding through the Gates Foundation. So just before it all kicked off, what did Gates do? He stood down from Microsoft and said he wanted to concentrate on his philanthropic interests. No, he knew this was coming. Of course he did. And so he stepped down so he could front this up. And because, again, this web absolutely involves at a very significant high level the Rockefellers, and you've got the Gates family and the Rockefellers going way back. In fact, I've seen genealogy that claims that if you go far enough back, the Rockefeller family and the Gates family fuse. So because all this has been prepared for so long, you had the cult via the Rockefellers creating the World Health Organization, which is now run by Gates, who is its biggest funder. And from that central point, they have orchestrated this entire pandemic hoax. Soros is another one of these frontmen for the cult who makes enormous amounts of money from the financial system, and people say, oh, he's good. Well, if I knew when the market was going up and going down because the cult was making it happen, then I'd be very good at making lots of money. And again, the rider is, you're making lots of money, George. Now, vast amounts of it have got to be spent on the agenda in the guise of philanthropy. So you've got Soros funding all over the world, but particularly in America, all these woke organizations and BLM and all of it, which are obviously on the Biden side. You've had education taken over, and this woke mentality, this unthinking woke mentality, has been manipulated in generations of people who are now the woke generations that are pushing on the side of the Democrats, which is it's a fascistic party, and it's controlled by the 1% and people like Soros.